So let's go back to the low in 2009. And this time, we're going to focus our attention now on the smallest cycle that I think is relevant or for facing the stock market. And that is the 20-week cycle. Now, I'm going to consult with my table again. The 20-week cycle is 100 trading days. And the filter for finding this 20-week cycle is 25 days displaced backwards by 13 days. And I'm going to use blue for this because I like the color blue for this cycle. So again, moving average, simple. Double click on that. Oh, not that. Double click on that moving average. And the table says it's 25 days and we displace it backwards by 13 days. 25 divided by half is 12 and a half. You need to round these up. So we move it backwards by 13. We color it blue. And we're gonna hide the black filter that we used for the 18-month cycle. So I'm not going to face every single high and low for the 20-week cycle going all the way from 2023 all the way back to 2009 because there's just too many of them. And because really what I want to show you is that this filter is perfect for finding this cycle. So let me use this tool. If you go to the left-hand menu, the fourth option from the top, you click on that. It's called Forecasting and Measurement Tools. And if you go down to Measure, you can use Date Range to measure number of days. And I find that pretty useful. Remember that this blue line is a 20-week cycle filter. It's going to highlight a cycle that takes place approximately every 100 trading days or 140 days. So if I start in 2009, remember 2009 was a 54-month low. Therefore, it is also an 18-month low. It is also a 20-week cycle low. And if you have any doubts, just look at the filter and you can see the filter is actually falling into the March 2009 low, and then it goes up after that. I just want to show you that this filter is highlighting, the first cycle that it's highlighting is this one, and it's 126. It's 126 calendar days. The next one is this one, it's 210 calendar days. Remember the principle of variation. It is normal for a cycle to vary up to 50%. So a 140 calendar day cycle can last anywhere between 70 days and 210. It can be a little longer than that. It can be a little shorter than that, but it's going to be around, on average, 140 calendar days or 100 trading days. And here's another one, 147 days. That's actually right on the money, 103 trading days or 147 calendar days. We keep moving forward. And the next one the filter is highlighting is, well, it's technically this one. It's actually going up here, the filter, and it's going down. Here's a tip for you. If the cycle looks a little too short to be 100 trading days, use the measurement tool and count the number of days. And in this case, it's 40 trading days for a 100 trading day cycle. Is actually a little too short. So 40 days doesn't really count as a 100 trading day cycle or a 20-week cycle. It's too short, so I'm going to ignore that. And you should do it also when you're finding these 20-week cycle highs and lows. It's just, if it's less than 50 trading days, you really should not call that a 100 trading day or 20-week cycle. It's too short. So if we keep moving forward, the next one is here. This is 200 days. So this is a good example of the 20-week cycle also being missing. Let's take this for example. It's 203 days. It's a little too long for a 20-week cycle. And you can see the prices dip here, but the filter doesn't pick it up. Sometimes what I do is I just count the number of days here to this low, which is 107 days. Okay, that's pretty good for a 140-day cycle. And here it's 95, also okay for a 100-day cycle. So you could say that all three of these are 20-week cycle lows, it's up to you. I just highly recommend that you use the filter so you don't have to do this at all. You just need to accept that, especially in the stock market, sometimes the cycles are just missing because the uptrends are too powerful. Volatility tends to go down during uptrends in the stock market, and that means that there's not a lot of cyclical price action. So you can keep moving forward. You can see again another one here. Just measure it. 96 days. 96 days is pretty good. 96 calendar days. The next one here, 109. So here's another one. 54 days. And you can see that the filter is going up, making a high, clearly going down, making a low. However, there's only 54 days between the two lows highlighted by the filter. Now, this to me could either be considered too long or too short. However, in this case, you can see that after that, the cycle goes missing. So in this case, you need to apply some discretion. You really need to make this model your own. I mean, there's no hard and fast set of rules that tell you, well, that's a cycle and that's not a cycle. When you apply this model in your own trading, you need to use the discretion. Even though I just said the 20-week cycle, which is 100 trading days, should be between 50 trading days and 150 trading days. This cycle here lasts just 38 days or 53 calendar days. However, it goes up and down enough and there's nothing after it for quite a while. I'm going to make an exception. I'm going to say, well, I'm going to use this as a 20-week cycle. And the main reason why is the amplitude. The amplitude, you can see that prices went up quite a bit and they went down substantially also in this 38 trading day period. And therefore, for that reason, for that amplitude, I consider it to be a valid 20-week cycle. The filter does go up substantially and then it goes down substantially also. So it could be considered a valid cycle. The next one is clearly visible. Next one is 192 days or 131 trading days. So that's right within the variation you would expect. Remember, 100 trading days is a cycle that is anywhere between 50 and 150 days. The one after that, I believe, is also probably going to be closer to 100 days, at 117 days. Next one, 150, so right on the edge of being considered a valid cycle. Next one here, 46, is a little too short, so I'm just going to give it a pass. Next one, 45 days, too short. I'm not going to use it. I'm going to show you in a second why you should ignore the ones that are too short. And the one after that, we have here 109, perfect. 130, it's also perfect. Uh, 48 is too short. Next one is 73. And you get the picture. The main takeaway is that this cycle, unlike the 18-month wave or the 54-month wave, is quite common. It rarely goes missing. In fact, in the 6 years I go from 2009 through 2015, it was missing only a couple of times. You can see that this filter is rarely a straight line. It goes up and down, and it's highlighting all of these cycle highs and lows on the 20-week cycle. So you keep seeing it. The 20-week cycle is quite prominent in the stock market. When a filter is straight up, it means there's no cycle. And this line is rarely straight up. Even in this period, look at this period here. This is the raging bull market of 2017. And you can still see that this filter is highlighting lows. It's highlighting these three lows in 2017. And I'll bet you that if I measure the distance between the lows, is right around 110 days. And the next one is 90 days. So even in the most powerful bull markets, you can rely on this 100 trading day cycle to be there. Not always going to be there, but it's going to be there more than 90% of the time. And if it's always there, you can use it in your trading strategies. Because as a cycles analyst, if you don't see any cycles, you can't trade. I'll just keep going forward here. This is the tail end of the 2017 bull market, and you can see that, okay, in this case, even the 20-week cycle is missing. And personally, I was trading the stock market during this time period, and because of the strength of that rally, that even the smallest cycle that I can reliably depend upon was missing, for that reason alone, I actually got out of this market. And then as we went into 2018, you can see that once again, this blue line goes up and down. It traces out the path of this 20-week cycle. It's quite reliable. Here, there's a bit of a strong trend. Let me see the distance here between one and the other. This is right on the edge of being a 20-week cycle, but it's still there. What I like about the 20-week cycle in the stock market is that it's quite when you draw the filter, it's a reliable line that moves up and down as it should. And we're ending up here. This is the COVID crash. Obviously, the filter picked it up as a 20-week correction, amongst other things. It was actually an 18-month correction. And then you keep seeing that every 20 weeks or so, there's reliably a correction in the stock market, which is why I like to follow this one, even in the stock market. In 2021, after the COVID response with all the money printed that took place, there was a time when even the 20-week cycle was gone from the stock market. And this is what I'm showing in the screen. You can see that the line is up and to the right. It barely moves at all. But I promise you that the vast majority of asset classes are not like this, are much more cyclical than the stock market. I chose to start with this one because I wanted to highlight that if you ever try to apply this model in the stock market, the cycles can and go missing at times. That being said, this 20-week wave is quite reliable. So you can see here that we're in 2021 now. The line is still going up and down. Now we're in the October 2022 low, which according to the filters, we highlighted it as both a 54-month and an 18-month low. And you can see that in this 2022 period, there's quite a bit of cyclicality. Just look at this picture here. This is mid to late 2022 and early 2023. And the stock market is quite cyclical in this time period. Based on this, you can see that the blue line here that's tracking this 20-week cycle is moving up and down. There's something you need to understand, that I told you that cycles can go missing at times. Yeah, cycles will only go missing during uptrends in the stock market. It has to do with volatility. When there's a strong bull market in the stock market specifically, volatility tends to go down. Volatility, you can measure it with the VIX, and if you're familiar with the VIX, it's basically it tries to measure the forward-looking volatility in the stock market. And when this measurement, the VIX, is low, that means there's low volatility in the stock market. And when there's low volatility in the stock market, you should not expect to see the long-term cycles. You may expect to see the 20-week cycle still, even with low VIX readings. But if the VIX continues to go down, in other words, if volatility goes down a lot, you may not even see that 20-week cycle in the stock market.